Hello, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Farm Fresh, good morning. Hello, Milk and Honey Heritage Farms. And hey there, Life with Linda and Chuck.
I just
So
realized I forgot to share this out on my community tab.
Oh, that's okay.
What the heck,
Okay,
Rachelle?
My
yeah,
bad.
you could do it now. We just started, so.
I'll do that. Bear with me.
Sure. Everybody, we've got Rachelle with. Whoops.
Sorry.
About that, guys. Was that you too? It was me.
Yeah, it was me too. Whoops. Hey, Gear Griden. Oh, slacker.
Take your right.
Busted. Milk and honey.
I shared on Facebook, okay?
Thank you so much.
I shared on my community and Instagram.
Awesome. Hey, my Renaissance grandma. Good to see you. Everybody, I hope you'll help us welcome Rachelle with Brampton Gardener. We're so excited to have you, Rachelle. Thank you for joining us. Do the circle clap.
So fancy. Hello, everybody. Okay. Now I can pay attention. I've shared it.
No problem. How was you all's weekend?
Rachelle's still posting. It was good here. Good here. We got Norman back outside.
Oh,
poor Normie.
So I was just thinking when I was watching one of the shorts of him, and I was thinking, I wonder how many hearts that little dude has won over. Hey, Michelle Beam, thank you for coming in.
Hey there.
How many hearts? How many people love him? You know what?
I would think more people would love him, but apparently I love him. So that's really what matters.
You love him, and that is what matters. So I'll show you what I started over the weekend. I'm going to show off I've got one granddaughter I haven't made an Afghan for yet, and her favorite color, she's 3. If you ask her what her favorite color is, she says it's rainbow. So,
well, that's thanks.
So I tried to pull some colors together. I'm not doing like the full-on rainbow, but I think these are pretty colors. So
very pretty.
Yeah, I'm hoping I'll have that done for her in a couple of weeks. So I did that, and I made my sourdough discard biscuits. Very excited that my sourdough is. I've finally grasped the concept of it is a living thing. Your sourdough starter is alive, so you treat it like a little pet.
It's fermented.
Yeah.
So it needs to be fed.
Mm-hmm.
And have you made bread?
Not yet.
Okay.
Biscuits is, kind of bread, but it's not. I've not made bread.
You and I need to talk about bread, and we need to talk about the sourdough collab.
Okay. Sounds good.
Look at Rachelle. Woo.
Yeah, I gave up on sourdough. I tried it years and years and years ago, and we went camping, and it exploded in my fridge.
I didn't know it would do that in a refrigerator. Oh, you had a lid on it.
And it made a mess.
Oh, my goodness.
And I was like, never again. It was like when you accidentally, you go to chill a can of Coke in the freezer and you forget about it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it was that bad?
It was bad, and it stunk. And then it was like, it's hard to reach certain places, and you can't get rid of that smell.
And dried sourdough needs a chisel.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
It was brutal. And I was like, never again. Because honestly, for me, it wasn't the flavor profile I was going for with sourdough. Right. I grew up on the West Coast. When I want sourdough, I want that like hit you in the back of the throat sourdough from like San Francisco, right?
Yep.
And this is not it. This is just basically kind of like a standard bread yeast recipe.
Yeah.
Sourdough. It is not that San Francisco sourdough that I grew up with. So for me, I was just like, you know what? I'm okay just using yeast when I make bread and going through that again.
Yep. So I was reading that there's different flours you can use that will make it more sourdoughy. So I think it was rye.
I think it was rye. I've heard. I don't know. I might try it again. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm up for that challenge right now. And then, like I mentioned in the previous the pre-show, I am I've decided this year, I'm trying to lose some weight and I'm going to cut back on the carbs. And so trying to play around with baking different kinds of bread is just really a bad idea. You're trying to do that. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna bother with that. Hi, Michelle.
Yeah, and you know what? I bought a bread slicer for that reason, because when we're making our own bread versus buying store-bought bread,
yeah,
the slices are massive.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought a bread slicer to make sure that I could get thinner slices.
I always find mine are they're like triangles. They're like wedges. And then you hope that you can kind of just fit them this way.
Yeah.
My mom always so embarrassed when she was a kid going to school because her mom always never bought bread. So it was always homemade bread. And they made their own sandwiches. And so in grade school, she says her sandwiches were so wonky and she was so embarrassed to go to school eating these sandwiches because she knew everyone knew they weren't using store-bought bread.
Oh my God. And she didn't know.
Embarrassed to be using homemade bread.
And everyone wished they had that homemade bread. That's so funny.
It's funny, yeah.
Yeah, how we are when we're kids, I swear.
Hi, Tamara.
Dear Greg.
I know, he's hilarious.
Hey, Tamara.
Just a little bit of mess, yeah. We're good.
Yeah, I've been there. I've had alarms go off and I'm like, what the heck was that for?
Yeah.
You got to put notes in there. I don't know.
I had one go off on my phone last week and I couldn't figure it out, but it was because you had asked me to be on this show last Tuesday and I said I couldn't make it. But I had put it on my calendar for.
Oh, gotcha.
And so I'm on the job and my alarm's going off and I'm like, what the heck? What did I forget? And I'm like, because Tuesday's the day I pick my daughter up after school. She stays for an after school program. And I'm like, this is too early for that. I wouldn't have put that on. I was, and then all of a sudden I realized,
Hey, you told me to remind you. I remember. That's pretty big for me.
Yeah.
Rachelle, do you want to, I'm sure.
I want to show off my shirt.
Look at that. Love it. Awesome. Rachelle, you want to,
but I have to do first.
Anybody who's watching that might not.
I got to rep my own merch though, right?
There we go.
There you go.
There you go. I love that.
And now I got to reset my camera. Hold on.
Okay.
There we go. For some reason, whenever I move or I do something like that covers the camera, it like I just get ghosts has come in. So
yeah.
Yeah. So now I'm wearing my Brampton Gardener.
I love that. That's a wonderful logo.
I like this one. I have the other design and I like that one too, but this one is a little bit more, as I think Monica said, it's classy. So
it's classy.
Where do you,
you know what? I have
your t-shirts made from?
And I'll start looking like a professional.
Can you see it or no?
It's not wanting to focus for me.
Hang on, I gotta do a thing on this. Hold on. Look what I made the other day.
Oh, I love it.
A Norman pint glass.
Oh my God. I love that. That is so cute. Where do you guys, what company do you guys use for your logo for all your merch?
I use Teespring.
What do you use, Rachelle?
Why is my microphone all the way over there? I'm used to when I do my live, I need the keyboard handy because I'm always popping stuff up on the screen, but I don't need that today. I can just put it right here. I use two different places. Spreadshirt, mainly for like the US, and then I also have Redbubble.
Yep.
So they do slightly different things. Redbubble, you can get anything. Yep. Like if you want, you can deck out your guest bedroom with a brand duvet cover and a throw rug and a pillow and a shower curtain.
Oh,
cloth. They do absolutely everything. So mouse pads, coats, jackets, yoga gear, like
wow,
it's insane the stuff you can get on Redbubble.
Yeah.
And then Spreadshirt is much more limited, but I think it's probably a better product. And the problem with Spreadshirt was, and I can't really blame them. It was more Canada Post, but last year I ordered the shirt. I was part of the MIG Grow Off, and I ordered the team shirt. Everyone else got their shirt within a week or so, and it took me almost 8 weeks to get mine because it was stuck at custom like ever. And so then shortly after that, last summer, I won a t-shirt from Slava at Kitchen Garden Therapy, and she ordered hers through Redbubble. And it's apparently there's a Toronto location, and I got it in 2 days.
Awesome.
So I've decided ways, or if anyone's ordering anything, if you're in Canada, order it from the Redbubble site.
Yeah.
If it's in the US, I'll do the spreadshirt.
Good to know. And I'm taking notes over here because we haven't made any merch, but we've thought about doing it. Hey, Joe, Garden State Gardener and Little Ridge
Hi,
Farm.
Joe.
Good to see you both.
Hi, Little Ridge.
Yeah, I was thinking of
Rachelle?
switching to Redbubble.
For anybody who might not know about your channel, either here in the chat or when they come to watch the replay, do you want to take a minute and tell everyone about your channel and what you do?
So my channel name is Brampton Gardener because I live in Brampton, Ontario, a suburb of Toronto. So I live in a very giant metropolitan area, and I live in a townhouse, and I have a very small yard. And I love gardening. This will be my 20th year gardening, 19th year gardening here, something around there. I've been doing it for a very long time. You know, I started off small and just, a handful of seeds I would start every year, and you'd go to the plant store, nursery. Gosh, I can't think of what
There we go.
There we go. I'd go to the nursery and I'd get a few flats of, petunias and some annuals and plant them out. And we always did, how to, and then we'd always talked about enlarging the garden. But for us, we usually would end up, I work with my husband. We do construction, we do drywall and stucco repairs.
Awesome.
And every spring for the last several years, we had been doing a big, massive job at one of the local colleges for the dormitory. Like 1 or 2 floors every year. And so it would start right when the school was out of college. So that would always start at like the beginning of May and go through June and sometimes into July. And it was like 7 days a week, just slogging it out. So we just never had the time to really expand the garden and do much. And 2020 happened. And we were home for 3 months. We were locked down. Here in Ontario, there were very, very strict lockdowns, and we were locked down for 3 months, and nothing was open. The only place you could get soil or anything like that, stores like Walmart and Home Depot and another Canadian Tire we have here, everything was on. You had to order it, and you could do curbside pickup. And so because of that, and they knew it was going to be limited, they had not ordered any soil in. So they didn't. You couldn't like order potting mix.
Wow.
So literally, the only place you could go and then a lot of the garden centers that like have it in bulk, they weren't even bothering to open. They weren't allowed to open, even though it was outside.
Yeah. Right.
We could all go to Costco.
Right.
Because only grocery was available. So you could get only grocery stores were open to the dollar store.
Wow.
So. And in even places like Walmart and like the other grocery stores, they did not bother bringing in any soil or plants, or like their garden centers were really weak that year. So basically it was Costco for soil, which is great because they always mix. So that worked fine. And so we just were like, you know what, this is the perfect opportunity to enlarge the garden. So the garden, actually, I'll see if I can find a photo and pop it up behind me. But it's a very, like, it's narrow townhouse and it's long, and then it goes out about not quite halfway, and then it goes up in the backyard.
That is awesome because you have made use of every square foot that you have.
We have, but it's been a nightmare to deal with. So so in 2020 we enlarged it, so now we just have a small. I gotta pick this up so you can see my gestures. Okay, so we just have like this grass that comes down, and we enlarged the beds. And that first year, like there was nowhere to buy plants, even bedding plants. It just nothing was available. So my husband ended up going to the dollar store one day, and he just bought a bunch of seeds that they had. So you could go and like buy seeds. Like I could have ordered online, but so he came back with a bunch of just basic There was like calendula and forget-me-nots and Shasta daisies and snapdragons. And I mean, I already had some seeds, and I bought to CD Saturday, which is a fun topic if anyone wants to talk about in a minute, in March. So CD Saturday happened the week before everything got locked down. So we were lucky enough to go. So there I bought some snapdragons and petunias.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, well, this is all years, whatever I can grow from seed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd grown from seed, like usually it was just like tomatoes and peppers and some herbs, things I couldn't get in the store, varieties I couldn't get. And then sometimes like certain I'd see, oh, this is a really pretty petunia that you can't get at the store. But most of the time I had a very limited grow lights. I didn't have any of that. And so it was just like, and so all of a sudden we grew a bunch of stuff, and I started a lot of it indoors. And then when I planted it out, I also added the seed next to where it was at. So it kind of did a succession planting. And it was fabulous. There flowers everywhere. It was blooming. It was beautiful. I did so many cut flower arrangements.
So
also,
awesome.
Every week I had like 2 or 3 new ones in the house, and I was making them for neighbors and giving them away. And then a couple of different times I went and just cut a bunch of flowers, put it in the buckets, and my daughter and her friends came over and they made bouquets. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is super fun.
Yeah.
And I had been watching, like I complained for years about HGTV not having any G in it anymore. And I started watching, a few channels on gardening the previous year. So the previous year I had started watching Nicole Farm, You Can't Eat the Grass, Jess at Roots Refuge. She had a few videos like with the cattle panel trellis that I think everyone's seen. And then she had one also on the growing the greens outdoors, like the winter sowing. I think that was one of her first videos I ever saw of her. And then starting like in spring of 2020, I answer, which is kind of the, the be all and end all of gardening channels. And I started watching a few of these others. And so during the summer of 2020, I would sit back and I would watch some of these different channels and their garden tours. And they would be like, oh, garden. And now we're going into that garden. And I just started laughing. I was like, I could do a garden tour. And I was like, here's my garden, And then that got me thinking. And so I started posting. I've been very active on the gardening forums on Facebook for years. I was on the Canadian Gardening Board before Facebook even came along. And then they kind of shut that down. And then we all moved over to Facebook. So actually I have a lot of good friends from there on my page. So I'm not one of these YouTubers that are like, oh, I just started growing things for the first time 3 years ago and I started a channel. I've actually been growing things for quite a while. And I've been involved in, the gardening shows. I've gone to Canada Blooms every year that I can go. I've done the CD Saturdays and gone to that. And then all of a sudden I realized, you know what? There's got to be a lot of people out there like me that live in a small yard, that live in a suburban setting, that don't have these giant acres and money and time to devote to these gardens. And the amount of food, the amount of plants I was able to grow that year, and then in 2020, and then in 2022, for the space that I have, I think is pretty impressive. I discovered vertical gardening, which is amazing. I have quite a few gardening planters. And I just thought, you know what, hopefully it can spark someone out there that doesn't have all of this property, doesn't have a ton of money, and just on their own, doesn't have, a husband and a big family to help them. You know what, you can just, even if you just pot one pot, Pam and container crops, just if nothing else, plant one thing. To just be like, oh, wow, you can actually grow a lot of food in a very small spot. So, and in a northern climate, I'm in Canada, I'm in a zone 5B.
I was going to ask that.
Yeah. So, slightly longer than Lisa.
Little wetter.
A little wetter. A little hotter.
That makes a difference.
Yeah.
Real quick, I just want to acknowledge some folks that have joined. Yeah. Hey there, Bushcraft Family, Arc Wildman Survival, Shift Kicker, Joe at Garden State Gardener. Thank you all so much for coming in.
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
I wrote it in the chat, but just sometimes I know people are like listening and not really paying attention. Charles at Bushcraft, I went to share your channel and I deleted your comment. Please, I'm so sorry. So sorry. Please don't take it the wrong way. I really love Charles and his channel and as a person, and I don't want him
Charles
to
is
take it the wrong way.
Oh,
so I want to let him know I'm sorry, and it was totally my bad, and I can't undo it.
We're super professional up here today.
And hey there, Ann Dale Homestead. Thank you so much for coming in.
Hope you're feeling better, Ann.
New goal for the year, Lisa. Don't delete comments.
Yeah, that's why I don't moderate anymore.
I'm a terrible moderator. I'm a
horrible moderator. And
I let a lot of things go. I'm not super uptight about stuff. So I'll be like, oh, that's funny. And then someone else deletes it because it was offensive. Oh, sorry.
Well, there was a big joke when I was in Bland's because too many emojis would set things off and blah, 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 blah. And one time I blocked Ann Dale. And so that was it. I got blamed for everything. And really, I
was there that night. I remember. Yeah, all hell broke loose.
Oh my goodness.
And so I just want you to know, I'm
the
sorry.
Queen of Bob got blocked.
Hey, Corner Clubhouse Cobalt. Thank you for coming.
Charles said LOL.
Be careful. Ann Dale's going to come over and set you on fire.
Ann Dale, I messaged her that night on Instagram and I said, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And she laughed.
And she was the guest.
Oh, no.
Worst
she thought she could get away with it because she was the guest. She was trying to pull rank there. I see what's happening, Nan. Yeah.
Dear Gryden, apparently I timed him out. I don't remember if I did or not, but I do know that I own what I screw up.
Yeah, I took all that like control away from Nightbot because the first time I set up Nightbot, my G Mama got booted.
No.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my, because she's emoji sometimes, right?
Yeah,
and she got in trouble, and I think like 3 or 4 people like in my live, and I'm like, I only got 10 people in here, Nightbot. You can't be checking everybody out. Like, you can't be doing it.
You can't be kicking everybody out of the party.
Got blocked on mine by Nightbot because of the emojis.
And
everybody was like,
for that reason.
Well, I took it off. I took that off. So Nightbot, it doesn't. The only thing Nightbot, I have a few words that you're not allowed to say in the chat, and then like links unless you're a mod. But I don't have any of the other stuff on there because he's talks is so freaking rude.
I know.
I'm watching you. I got my eye on you. You're pushing your luck now.
Oh my gosh.
Nightbot is sassy. Yeah.
I don't see that. Where do you see that?
Maybe it's
it will come like, okay, so let's say someone does like a couple emojis and I'll block them the first time they do too many emojis, but they'll give them a warning. And sometimes those warnings are just really rude and sassy. And it's like, dude, if anyone's going to be rude to the guest, it's going to be me, not you. So yeah.
Is that in the YouTube chat or on the, because like I never see it on the Melon chat.
Well, it would be YouTube. I mean, it would just be the same chat, right? It would be whatever Nightbot. I don't know. Maybe I have mine set to sassy. I don't know. Maybe it just picks up on the host's vibe and
Nightbot knows you well.
I don't know.
That's awesome.
Oh, you didn't time him out. Well, of course you couldn't have timed him out because he commented. We should have figured that out.
No, I deleted his comment.
No, that was Bushcraft though, not
right. Bushcraft. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm done moderating for today, folks. I can't multitask apparently.
You can customize the reply. Okay, see, I don't know how to do that. So if you've been in my chat and Nightbot's been rude to you, I did not customize though.
Mm-hmm.
Good to know.
Yeah.
You just keep telling us
Anne.
that.
Look at that. She says mostly in live. That's funny. Okay, I'm gonna have to go in and change Nightbot settings then. Mm-hmm. I mainly use Nightbot just so people can type the word link and drop their link so that my mods can sit back and relax and aren't, doing that all night. And then nice. I have the web. I don't have the joke. I should set up the joke one, but I keep forgetting. But then I have the weather one because it's kind of fun. We always end up talking about the weather when gardening. So,
Oh, you did time Bushcraft Family out for 300 seconds.
and it's amazing how long 300 seconds is when you're in a chat.
And you're wanting to say something.
Or 20 oh my,
yeah.
the flow chat.
Mhm.
5 seconds. Okay. 20 seconds. Are you kidding me? I don't realize how often I hit send before I fully finish the thought.
Mhm.
And so then by the time I finish my thought, like it doesn't make sense anymore because it's like 40 people down.
Oh, he said, just kidding.
Oh no.
Hey, I haven't, look, I put my phone down.
She's innocent.
Charles is just such a nice guy, and I always do
He
it to
is.
the
He's
nicest
awesome.
people. I never
That's
do
never
it,
happens
like,
to me.
Yeah, I never hit the actual bot that's in the chat, right? But I always get the nicest people.
Mhm.
Awful. That's it. Hands down.
Step away from the controls.
Move the phone.
Hold the phone.
Oh, hey, Blue Self-Reliance. Good to see you.
Hey, Blue.
Sorry, I missed you
Hey,
earlier.
Blue.
How are your toes?
My favorite pixie.
No buttons.
45 degrees and more rain coming. What is rain?
It's horrible.
Yeah, we have some like muddy spots we just throw leaves on.
Yeah, we are 42 right now. 42 and overcast.
No seeds
So
for
it looks
you.
like we're not getting rain today. It looks like we're getting rain Thursday. But we're going to be above freezing all week long. So all this piles and piles of frozen crap in my bag.
Oh, that's nice. That is nice when you live somewhere where there's just snow upon snow and you get to see it melt. I love
Breakup. Yeah, breakup as we call it.
41 degrees right now, Fahrenheit.
You too?
Yep.
I'm at 42.
We're at 47 right now.
Wow.
We're the warmer ones. Yeah. Yay.
And where are
We've
you
had
at? Like,
beautiful
I'm trying to
days.
picture.
So we were in Arizona. We're in Missouri now.
Missouri. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, wait.
We
She's
were
in Toronto.
looking, I mean,
27.
we were considering different states, and this is where the good Lord put us, I guess, because this is where we were able to find something that would accommodate the two families and had, land that we wanted and the price that we needed, right? So, gotta.
And what zone are you
I
in?
would have loved to have just bought land and said, all right, guys, let's just get out there. Let's build something. But my daughter was pregnant. Like she had her baby 3 weeks after we got here.
Oh my gosh.
So
that
she
would
was
be
At home.
She was like big pregnant,
Oh.
At home.
That's not fun to move.
At home.
Oh my God.
It was an unassisted home birth here. Yeah, unassisted home. Meaning mom and dad and grandma.
But was that the plan, or did it just happen so fast there was no option?
So I had been encouraging my daughter to get like a doula or, whatever the other people are called. I'm drawing a blank now, but something. But they had everything that they needed, from the sterilized clips for the umbilical cord, just they had everything. Wow. They had everything. They had the herbs for directly after delivery to help stop the bleeding. Not by accident, Andale.
Okay. Hey, on purpose.
She did it all by herself.
Yeah. Yeah, she did. I mean,
hey, Rich.
That's amazing.
Yeah, she didn't. Hey, kill it and grill it. She didn't want to deal with the hospitals not letting family members in and just all of that. And I will say, for one thing, it was scary just because it's your child, and
yep.
I can't even imagine. Yeah.
And I was scared until I got to see her, because when she was in labor, she didn't want me there because I'm like, we need to fix this. Like I'm, that high energy, high strung kind of personality anyways. We need to fix this. And she didn't want pressure from anybody on making her cave to prevent her from doing what she was doing. Right. So I got over there, walked in, baby's in her arms, umbilical cord still attached, and dad's there. And I'm like, okay, how's everybody's blood pressure? What's going on? Like, what's the plans with this cord? We need to get this moving, like, and that's when I kind of helped from that point. Otherwise, her and her husband, Blue, they did the whole delivery. He caught the baby, and, it ended up, we had the birthing pool, and she's going to do a video and talk about this herself. Which I'll even be interested to hear her talk about her perspective of it. But we had bought the birthing pool. So she had that. We had set that up in the house. But she ended up having the baby in the bed. And she had like the special covering and everything. Mattress is still alive. Nothing got ruined. She ended up having him in the bed. And I will say this. Hey, our new land. Thanks for coming in. Little dude was born into the most peaceful environment, not like a hospital where you've got people handling the child that aren't family. And I don't know if you guys recall or have been around that taking place recently, but they kind of fling that little joker around, they just aren't very careful with a newborn. Right. And that's why they give them the vitamin K shot to prevent them from having any hemorrhaging, the baby from having any hemorrhaging. It's supposed to stop any bleeding. But she had her husband, and the husband, yeah. My husband, Grandpa, is like, I love my grandson, but seriously, can she go to the hospital? Is this even legal?
Yeah. It's funny because I was in a teaching hospital, and of course I'm not going to give details because everybody will click off, but let's just say it was a teaching hospital. So that means there's a lot of people. So, you're sitting there and they're all here.
Yeah. Yes.
Which I was fine with, because I thought it was very helpful for them, and I think that's important. But
I'm a super private person. I didn't want anybody like around when I was in the hospital. Like, no one needs to see any of it.
I wanted it out, and I wanted it out then. 12 days late, and I said, now.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. Yeah. No, I was done at like 8 months,
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's
like, no, let's go. Month. I'm done with this. So she came early though. So awesome. 2.5 weeks early. So that was nice.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's how that went. Little dude's just as he's just as healthy as he could be.
Oh, that's awesome. Mama. Yeah. No, I was like, nope. I'm not prepared for that. Yeah. Nope.
But because of all of that, Rachelle, we felt kind of strapped for time.
Oh yeah. So,
but we're happy with where we ended up and loving it here in Missouri, but we do get the rain. We get a lot of ice. So other people will get rain and we get ice. That's what I've noticed has happened.
Exactly.
I'm with you there, Anne. I used to be a very private person about stuff like that. Honestly, once your legs are in stirrups, you do not care. You do not care.
After 9 months of being poked and prodded, and privacy goes out the window because it just happens all the time.
The door's open, you're sideways, but the door's open, and there's like 3 or 4 people here, and someone walks by, a nurse walks by. Oh, they come running in to watch, and everyone, oh yeah, come on in. You grab, might as well. Come on in.
I didn't know I was pregnant.
Standing room. Let's go. Isn't this is a miracle?
Yeah. I asked, who are those people? Can they leave? I was not like that.
I was like, come on in.
It's kind of like I didn't feel like I was pregnant for 9 months. I didn't know I was pregnant until I was 4 months.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
So that 5 months went fast. I hadn't, I was jogging still.
You got your hand around it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think for me, not that I liked that they were there, but to me, it was just they see this every day.
Yeah.
Day in and day out. And they were still that excited and that moved with the experience of watching a baby being born, even though it's like the 500th time they've seen it happen,
I have to tell you, I had one nurse, and I don't want to take us off course, but I had one nurse. It was the first time she'd seen a birth. She was in there and she was like right up in my face, Rachelle, and she was like, oh my gosh, that was so beautiful. And I was like, can I die now? Like, they didn't give me drugs like I asked for. Can I go to bed now?
Shut up.
But she was so genuinely excited.
Oh, that's awesome. I just want to make sure everybody knows, like, scary times when you have a daughter, a family member, a friend who is pregnant and could deliver it at any moment. And then you have winters, right? Like, what if you can't get on the road to take them? We've got power outages. What if, I just want everybody to know that really God has equipped us with everything that we need to deliver a baby without a hospital. I mean, that is not, it's a fairly new convention, the hospital itself being the birthing clinic. And you can really do that at home. So if you're ever in a situation where you have to assist in a birth or something like that, it is completely doable. Just make sure, I would say anybody who's pregnant, just in these days and ages, like, this is me though, preparedness lifestyle. Make sure you have, I would say, of everything, make sure you have the surgical scissors. They come like in a little wrap, so they're sterilized, and that you have the 2 clamps for the umbilical cord. And worst case scenario, if you didn't have those, I mean, you got to worry about infection. Like, the delivery, once you're through that, delivering the afterbirth is a huge deal. And that could be Ark Wildman. I was found under a rock.
Hey, it must have been a clean rock, Ark. You survived.
Yeah.
UV sanitizes.
Yeah.
Hey,
UV rays.
I have the whole suture kit with the exception of the 2 things out of it they used to stitch me up. And the lady who gave it, the nurse who gave it to me, used to be a farrowing manager at a hog farm. And said to me, she said, hey, they're going to throw this out. You're going to get charged for it anyway. Take this. Awesome. And she gave it to me. So we've got it for the pigs.
Nice.
Awesome.
I mean, for us too, obviously, but it can be sterilized.
It said Big Rock. Yeah, because Ark Wildman's a big guy.
He's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
So, Rachelle, tell us about some of your goals for this year.
Oh yeah.
Yes, that's what
I have a list. I have a list. I was kind of prepared for this. So crap, I can't find it. Hold on.
She has a list, but she can't find it.
Details. I am not a detail-oriented person. I am a big ideas person. So making lists is not, like, my sister was like the queen of lists. Like, we are total opposites. She's like total type A. I am type C, D, E. Yeah, she wrote lists all the time. I made lists just so in case I had thought of a few things while I was on there. So I'm looking at this, and honestly, I'm not mature enough to talk about the 7 Fs. Like, I cannot say this without laughing every time.
Because she thinks it's.
Let's just say I don't want to get you channel demonetized.
Yeah.
Love you lots.
Thank you. Yeah. So for me, looking over, like, I think they were having a lot of fun with keeping it the alliteration, but words, it's like, well, I don't really have, like, I don't know, what do they mean by friends? Like, goals with friends? Like, have some? Like, like I don't like, what do you know, like, I want to see my friends and hang out.
Yeah.
Now that we're
mission accomplished. We love you.
Thank you. YouTube friends, people. Like, I'm pretty good at that because I'm a people person. I'm an extrovert. So that's not like a chore. That's not something I have to work on to keep in touch with people. For me, family and friends, I felt could go on together.
Yep, I'm with you on that one.
I think like, so under like family, you know, just making sure that, you know, everyone in the family is healthy. That was something on here that they didn't really focus on as much as I felt should have been focused on this. I mean, you have faith, fun, finance, family, friends, future, and fitness. But for me, like, my whole goal in life is to be happy.
I know, right? I love that.
And how
do you fun then?
All of these things, I think all of these things do help maintain that. Like, maybe that's just like the umbrella at the pinnacle of it, and then this is like coming down from it. but to me, it's about balance, and it shows you like the wheel on that. And I did earlier, but making sure that the family has balance as well, so that they're getting what they need, right? Well, I have a daughter; she's 13, almost 14.
Oh, fun age.
Yeah, she's amazing. But making sure that she has proper balance and structure. She's going to school, that she has time with her friends, that she's taking care of chores and learning about being self-sufficient at home as well. Eating balanced, keeping active, being part of the family, not locking herself in her room, or she has on the computer with her friends, but we still focus on family time and spending time together. I hope that we have the same relationship, and I think we will, as I had with my mom. So especially all through my teenage years, my mom was like one of my best friends, and she still is. Like, we never had that mother-daughter. We were always super close and fun. She was a very fun person. Like, we would go shopping and my mom would come along with me and my friends, right? Well, she was driving a lot of times, but I remember it was like, even after high school, a friend of mine wanted to go get a dress. We were going to a friend's wedding and she needed to go dress shopping. And she called and said, "Oh, do you want to go?" And I'm busy or whatever. And she's like, "Well, can your mom go?" like she would have just gone shopping with my mom. And honestly, I would have gone and done stuff with her mom. Like, we grew up. That was how we grew up. We grew up with not just friends, but with the whole families always did stuff together. And so I think that's kind of what's attracted me to YouTube, is just the sense of family. I moved from where I grew up. I moved to Toronto. I was out of my comfort zone, and so moving here and making new friends was really difficult at first, especially because it's like, I didn't know. We were in my husband had bought a townhouse here in a new section. So he knew a couple of the neighbors, but honestly, it wasn't really anywhere he'd grown up or was around. And I worked with him, and he's self-employed. Right. So we would go and do jobs. Like, every job we do is mainly, sorry.
That's awesome, isn't it?
These plants.
When you work with your husband, because my husband and I had a pest control company. So we would go out, and I would do the inside, he'd do the outside. And we would go to work together when I was taking college classes. So I would go out with him. I mean, sometimes it can get pretty quiet in the cab of that little pickup truck. But to be with each other all the time, to that point to where you really grow together, versus having husband at this job, wife at this job, gone all day, come home, maybe exhausted, maybe a little frustrated.
You never get to see each other at your best.
No, you nailed it. Never seeing each other at your best. And then I can recall one of my coworkers, her and her husband were even splitting up, like, whose games they were going to go watch, like the boys football or the girls baseball. And I was like, that's not good for your marriage. You need to tell your kids, guess what? They didn't stay married. I mean, I feel like it's kind of a blessing to have that opportunity to work with your spouse. And I mean, sometimes you might, want to pull each other's hair out, possibly, just like
there are times.
Like, you need anybody you're around all the time, but that's a blessing that you guys get.
Well, it was funny. So last week we were doing a job, and one of the guys on the job was someone we had worked with. We've known him for years. He was working for another contractor, and then he switched to a different group, and they were doing a remote. Told him about us, so we went to do the job. So I hadn't seen him in a very long time. I mean, several months, probably since I had seen him this summer or whatever. So anyways, we're on the job. I don't know. Something happened. I was cheesed off. We were like bickering a little bit. And he goes, "Oh, I've missed you guys."
Yeah, that's awesome. And they gotta think you are the most
not to take it
drywall person ever, right?
Oh, well, I don't look like this at work. At work, the hair is back. There's no makeup on. I'm wearing a cap. A lot of times I have a mask. I should show a picture. I took a picture last week. I was like, the glamorous lifestyle.
Yeah, you should. That's awesome.
I'll send it to Lisa so she can pop it up on the screen. I'll have to find it. I did take a picture. It was funny. I was like, oh God, this is terrible. But yeah, I mean, so we spend a lot of time together at work. we have similar goals
Mm-hmm.
with work in that way. And on the things that's attracted me to the homesteading community on Facebook and YouTube, even though I'm not technically a homesteader and I'm not into that
You
whole
are.
lifestyle, I
I
love
think you
the
are.
fact that you watch couples and families doing things together and coming together and having a common goal
Mm-hmm.
and working together and like not buying everything. We're
Yeah.
doing things hands-on because we're very hands-on. I grew up, my dad was a contractor.
Mm-hmm.
He was a builder. I was on the job site as soon as I was born.
Mm-hmm.
I was
That's
driving a
awesome.
backhoe by the time I was 12.
Oh my gosh, you and your husband were made for each other.
Well,
Good
that's
heavens.
except for so I've been like involved in every aspect of building except for drywall.
Very cool.
Was the only thing my dad always subbed out.
Mm-hmm.
I was
Yep.
like, this is the only thing I've never done. I put up drywall. I've put up insulation. I've done brick. I've done all of it, growing up, but not
Yep.
the taping part. So
So Blue said you're an urban homesteader.
I guess I am, right? I don't have any.
Yeah.
Watch yourself, Dexter.
Yeah,
But,
because
I don't,
another thing I know
I don't
that
have any
you
animals.
do, and
I
I
grow food and I preserve and
you sew.
and I sew. Yeah, I sew a lot.
Yeah. Like,
You don't have to have animals.
yeah.
No, to be a homesteader, I think it's you have to grow or you have to
No, it's how you define it.
food or just
Mhm. Yeah.
It's how you define it, right? Because we talked about this on our podcast Around the Hay Bale, and it's really just how you define it.
Mhm.
Some people are living in an apartment right now and they're making sourdough, they're growing sprouts, they're
don't talk
sewing.
about sourdough.
Okay, they're making no knead bread.
You're triggering me.
You get what I'm saying? Not everybody
Yeah.
has the capability, but they're trying to take control of things and live a simpler
To be
life.
more self-sufficient, yeah.
And know
Right.
the older skills, those skill sets that a lot of people just don't have.
Right.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I think of it too.
Hey, cheddar pepper.
Prepper.
Cheddar,
I
pepper,
have a food
prepper.
mill. I can grind my own wheat if I so choose,
Mhm.
which I don't choose as often as I should.
Mhm.
But I have like wheat berries. I have soft wheat. I prefer soft wheat to
Mhm.
hard wheat. Hard wheat is if you're making like a nice dense sandwich. For me, I prefer if I'm going to make like a French loaf or sweets, cookies, pancakes, stuff like that. The soft wheat's better. So that's what I buy now.
Cool.
I prefer. I also have kamut. I'm trying
I've
to
not
figure out
done
how
that
to do
before.
more.
I want to do that too. That sounds fun.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to do more with like the kamut spelt and corn. The corn, like I don't know what the heck I'm supposed to do with this big giant bag of the corn. Like I don't need that much cornmeal. So I've used it. I've used it to weigh things down. So I made these like fabric pumpkins for things. Put corn in the bottom. You can use it in like if you make those heating pads that go in the microwave. So I've done that with and I also use
what kind of corn do you use in those? And they don't pop? Wait,
it's not popcorn.
What kind of corn is it? Well, like what's it called? What's the name?
Dried corn.
Really?
Oh, it's called.
You could use deer corn for those
So you
purposes.
grow it, and the name of the corn is.
No, I don't grow it. I don't grow it. I buy
you can get deer corn.
I buy it bulk.
Oh, okay.
It's for grinding up to make like cornmeal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Right.
I just want to.
And it's deer corn.
Well, what I was saying is I didn't say Rachelle was using deer corn, but if you're making like a heating pad, you can use deer corn.
Okay.
Don't use spelt.
What?
Spelt stinks.
Okay.
Not like from seals or something?
It stinks. Spelt. The grain.
Okay.
Like every time I unscrew it's like it stinks.
Wow.
I don't know why it's gross, but it's not off. Like the kamut smells nice and nutty. The regular wheat is nice. Buckwheat, yes, buckwheat works well. The corn smells amazing. It smells like laying on a tamale. Don't use spelt.
Oh, I like this. I'm going to share this real quick, what Shift Kicker said. Homesteading is a lifestyle of self-sufficiency. It is characterized by subsistence agriculture, home preservation of food, and may also involve the small-scale production of textiles, clothing, crafts.
Yep. Ooh, I'm crafty.
Perfect.
Go to the Old Swedes farm because Rich has got a good point, and I just want to speak to that because I know you guys were talking about working with your husband. Now I've never worked with Ryan. I had said same to Blue, but I realized that it came across the wrong way. But one of the things that we talk about is, when I was commuting, right, spending 20 hours a week working away from the house, and Ryan's right here in town and he has the flexibility. One of the things that we love now is that, at a moment's notice, he calls and says, "Hey, you want to get lunch?"
Yeah.
Like, that's improved quality of life like you wouldn't believe.
Oh yeah, lunch out improves everything.
Yeah. And I mean, not only that, it's just, hey, you want to take a ride to Wyoming to pick something up. But we also are firm believers in our own alone time, meaning not that we're sick of one another, but, I do my thing and he does his thing. And then we also come together.
Yep.
Yeah. Actually, I was kind of going there too. And then I got sidetracked.
Yes, not on me for that.
And we spend time together, and we're homebodies. Like, we're not out. He would rather be home than anywhere else. I like to go out. I like to go shopping, go out for lunch, do things like that. I like to go to the farmer's market. I like to go. He doesn't like to do any of that. So I have my shopping husband. I have friends who have the same issue, if you want to say it. They have husbands who don't enjoy going and doing those things, so they didn't go do it. And I just started. I was like, I'm just going to go by myself. So I go and do it, and now I have friends that I go and do, and I have my daughter I go and do stuff with. So I think that's a problem sometimes in marriage. Expect the other person to have all the same interests as you do, and that you think you're supposed to do everything together because you're married.
Yeah.
And so this was a big issue I saw with some of my friends back when I was at book club, and they were constantly giving marriage advice, all these other women, and how doing this and basically forcing your husbands to do the things you want to do for them to show you how much they love you. And it's like they would set up these things. Oh, well, we have to do this for date night for our marriage. And so the husband broke in, or they had to go to all these other kids' birthday parties. My husband came to a few birthday parties, and then finally he was just like, I'm not going to go to another birthday party tonight. I don't want to go. I'd rather stay home on the deck with Gizmo, because Gizmo was our dog at the time. He goes, I don't want to go. I was like, all right, I'm not going to force you to go and be miserable there. So I would go. And then the other husbands were like, well, where's Randy?
Why didn't he have to come?
What's he doing? Is he working? No, he's having a beer on the deck with his neighbor. So like, why did I have to come if Randy didn't have to come? I was like,
that's so funny.
And then they used to lay into me about making sure we had date night. You have to have date night at least once or twice a month. You have to have date night. And I'm like, I'm with him 24 hours a day. Why the heck do I need to have date night? Like, we need to have a part night.
Yeah.
Right? And they couldn't process that. Like, we need to have our time to do our own thing. And I think that's healthy.
Yes.
And prior to getting married, I remember reading some books. And, at the time it was all "you complete me" was kind of a really big thing back in the 90s. I kind of came to the realization before I started dating, right? No, I don't want someone to be, to complete and be the other half of me to where we become a whole. I think a happy marriage and a successful marriage or relationship is two whole people that come together and can put up with, like, I didn't want someone that I needed, and I didn't want someone that needed me, or else they're,
right.
That whole codependency and all of that, right? People that are comfortable enough and confident enough in your kind of do your own thing, do what you want. Like, he has no interest in my sewing, like zero.
When you were saying that, I'm picturing me trying to get Mountain Grandpa to want to crochet or make soap. I'm going in the sewing room.
How to knit.
He'll go fishing. He'll go, let the boys be boys. Me and my husband both, we have lots of hobbies. Like, both of us, we have lots of hobbies, and they're not all the same hobbies. And we come together on some of them. Like, I like to go fishing too, but as soon as it's springtime, he might want to fish like every day. I don't need to fish every day.
No,
because then I won't be able to do my other fun stuff.
Right.
I fish by reading a book and eating snacks.
Yeah.
I crochet.
Yeah.
Ice
fishing, I don't. But when it comes to regular fishing, I would prefer
boring,
to sit on the ice.
and you can't talk because you'll scare away the fish, which I think is BS. You're just saying that to get me to shut up. So,
but now when you were
not
talking
into
about
fishing,
like the completing each other thing, so we've been together for over 30 years, and you do end up stepping into that plate. At least I have. I'll speak for
Well, you're
myself.
compatible. Like you
We
fill
are
in the gaps,
compatible,
but
and
you're not.
we have different skill sets.
Yeah.
So I rely or have come to rely on my husband for a lot. And I think vice versa. And it does happen over the years of, being
And I
together.
don't think it's a bad thing. I don't mean it in that way. Like I think you complement each other, right? Like
Yeah.
just, you kind of learn to work together and,
Yep.
and things like that. And you kind of find your little
Yep.
and
Mhm.
I think that's healthy.
That's
And
awesome,
but I
Lisa.
think it's when you're not comfortable doing something on your own and you have to have that person with you,
Hmm.
even if
That's a
they don't
problem.
enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
And just to kind of come along.
Yeah.
I saw this with my parents. My
Yeah.
dad, like he didn't like to do stuff without my mom. And he was just so
Yep.
used to her always being there. So
Uh-huh.
he would go and be looking at property, or he would be going and running errands, and mom would go and she would just sit in the car with a book. And she might be sitting in the car for an hour or two or whatever. And she
Mhm.
was fine with that. Like
Uh-huh.
she didn't really, once me and my sister were older, she was fine with that. She didn't really have anything else that she needed to do. And for
Mhm.
her, it was kind of a downtime. Like she loved reading. So she
And they
enjoyed
didn't have cell phones, right? So she could,
Yeah.
No, yeah, you couldn't just be like, "Oh, meet up later and do this."
like,
No.
sure,
Uh,
I've got some of
but
this.
for me, it kinda drove me nuts seeing
Mhm.
that because I was like, "Well, why and sit in a car for 2 hours when you can stay home and do
Mhm.
this, or you could do that, or you could do whatever the heck you want."
Mhm.
So I was just like I mean, and I will sit in the car, and I used to bring my book, but it would be because like, we did a job, and then Randy would have to look at a job on the way home, and so I would sit in the car, right?
Mhm.
Because, we don't need 2 people in I would just stay in the car for that. But like, yeah, if he's gonna run somewhere, or I don't understand all these things on YouTube about Target husbands. Like, why did you bring your husband? Why is he sitting in the car waiting for you? Why is he following you in the shopping cart, glaring at you? Like, leave the man at home. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, you're gonna get away with shopping if he's not there and he's happy where he's at. If he's home and he's watching the game and he's drinking a beer, he's not gonna care that you brought home another extra couple of pillows. Okay. But when he's there and he's staring at the cart and he wants to get home to watch that game, do you need
Mhm.
more pillows? Do you need more of this? Do you need more of that? No, leave the man at home.
Yeah.
Hey, Michelle,
Go shopping by
I don't think
yourself.
we have a mod in here. Sorry.
Oh, Blue's here.
Oh.
Blue's
Okay.
mod.
We
Yeah.
don't focus on like the whole mod thing during this. That's why. And we saw what
I've
happened
never
when I did it earlier.
gone into that on my channel. That's why I just did the when I drop your link, say link, and it drops it, and then I don't have to worry about it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then like those friends that they're both divorced now, and we're always telling me you need to do this and you need to do that. And I finally
Uh-huh.
say, you know what? How about you don't drag your husband to everything they don't want to go to, or say softball
Mhm.
and baseball on the same night, so that you have to yell at him because
Mhm.
he has to come home from work early enough to take one of the kids to one, because you have to take the other kid to the other. And
Mhm.
he didn't agree to it, and he didn't sign up for it, and you did. And then now he's mad because he's got to stay late for work, and now you're freaking out because you don't know how you're going to get to 2 games across the city. Added
Yep.
stress. And I think that was a
Hey,
big thing, like
Monica.
when my daughter was little.
Yep.
And honestly, I don't know how it is in the US. And I did not grow up this way, but around here, a lot of my friends, like their kids were in every class. Like they took some kind of music class, and then they were in swimming lessons, and then I think swimming lessons are super important. Teach your kids how to swim. And then they would be like in baseball and hockey and some of these dance. I had one friend, it's like 4 nights a week her kids were in stuff. And it's like, so they go to school all day, they come home, they do homework, they have to go to these classes, you're racing around.
Yep.
Mhm.
Home late from work. So you're
Yep.
mad at him, you're mad at your kids because they're never ready to go out the door on time. You're always late no matter where you go.
Mhm.
No one
Right.
eats properly because you're always in a rush.
Right.
The only days you have home are like on Sunday, and then you're slammed with housework, and you're so stressed and you're so busy and you have no time to do anything or to a family. And it's all
Yep.
your own freaking fault because you overplanned and scheduled everything. Because
Yeah.
you can't stand spending time with your kids because you didn't discipline them. Sorry.
Mhm.
There, I said it. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
I got ridiculed a lot of times because we'd go places or would see something. We would love that. And my friend would be like, it's okay not to take your kid with you everywhere you go, or to take her out to eat, or to take her to do this or whatever. And I was like, Yeah, but it's also kind of okay to like spending time with your kids.
So yeah, my kids have gone,
Age
when I was in
differences.
college, they went to school with me. I mean, I had Katie in school with me when, like, she went to college with me when she was 4. And I
Yep.
just kind of slide her in a seat.
Yep.
Yeah.
I did get
We were
kicked
just
out
always
of one of my science classes
tagged along.
labs,
Yep.
though. I had her, but they both went to work with me on occasion when I could, right? Like when I could have them go into an office. Not at the same time, though. Although I did take, when I had to go to a Tucson off, like somewhere where I had to drive, I'd take them both because then they'd keep each other entertained because I was kind of there for a while. But it makes for a tight family. Like our family's really close. I mean, we're just a really close knit family. And for that reason, we're not just so, me and my husband aren't just grandma and grandpa and mom and dad, but we are friends to our kids too. You got to be parent first, of course, even when they're grown, you're still there for that support. And, but, yeah.
Look at Sue. Kill it and grill it.
How about the kitchen?
Oh, dude, my husband would agree with you. It's not happening though.
I love cooking.
Oh, Indiana Backyard Gardener. Good to see
I love cooking and I love not cooking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love leftovers. Let's say that's my favorite.
Yeah.
My absolute favorite because it tastes good and I didn't have to do anything, just heat it up.
Yes.
That's the best ever.
I always try to cook extra for that reason.
Yep.
Oh, the other thing I forgot to mention. So the other good thing about like us working together at the same job is we see what right. So I have a lot of friends that their husbands and wives, and they work separately or they're a stay-at-home mom, and they are convinced that the other person does absolutely nothing all day at work.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So they come home and they kind of have this, oh, well, what did you do all day? Oh, what did you do all day? Oh, he doesn't do anything, but he goes and takes smoke breaks and he doesn't do this and that. Well, when we're together, have a common goal. So we don't work by the hour, we work by the job. So the the faster we work, the sooner we get home. And so we see that we are both putting our heart and soul, we're working our butts off so that when we get home, he chips in more on different things. Like we started out very traditional roles, right? That's how we were both raised. And then over time, it's like, well, wait a minute, you're working as much as I am at work, and we come home and now you have to do all the house chores. Like that's
ALP.
It's like, that's not right. Yeah.
Oh, Rachelle, I'm sorry. Keep going, but I'm going to show the picture because I just realized you sent it to me.
Oh, yeah. I sent that like an hour ago, but whatever.
Yeah, I know. Sorry.
There's Rachelle doing drywall.
There I am sanding. That's super, super classy.
That's awesome.
The glamorous life. I need a new hat. That one's been through the ringer. Got a lot of paint on it. But I think that, that helps a lot to actually see what your spouse is doing and the effort that they put into it. And then it's a common goal. So like when you're like, say, working together on a project at home, you have that sense of completion when you work together on, you're like, good job. And so we get that at work. At home, we work on things. He would actually, it's so funny because at the job, he wants me right there, handing him stuff, doing whatever, right?
Yeah.
At home, he doesn't want to see me when he's working on a project. Right? Unless it's, turn off the water or
so lucky.
But he would much prefer to tinker with stuff on his own. Like when he did the floor, when he redid the floors in the entryway, I was allowed to help pull out all the staples. So I got
so jealous.
But yeah, jelly. But no, when it came to actually like setting the tiles and stuff, he just kind of wanted to zone and do his thing, right? So but there's certain things like every year we put the greenhouse together, so the gardening, we both are out there. He takes care of the grass and the shrubbery, the pruning, things like that. I take care of flowers and the plants. He has some special plants that he grows because it's legal. And those are his baby. I swear I do get a little jealous of them, the attention that they get, but like he checks on these things like 10 times a day. Anyways, but that's the only thing he grows. And and he babies them. But so we'll both be out in the yard working and doing things, but we're kind of doing our own thing, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so keeping that, just keeping your interest and just being able to have your
Yep.
and have your free time,
Yep.
right? Like I don't nag him. I don't have like a honey-do list. We're both adults here. If we see something that needs to be done, I might mention, oh, do you mind? Let me know if you need help doing something like this. But,
Mhm.
if there's, if his tool, if I got to trip over the thing for, a month coming in and out for it, and I
Mhm.
expect the same from me. Like,
Yep.
the sewing room, like, I don't know, sometimes you take your life in your hands walking through here. I'm not going to lie. Right?
The sewing room, right?
Yeah.
Needles.
Oh,
whatnot.
especially like before. No, I'm very careful with the needles. But like before Christmas, like stuff, I'm in the middle of projects when I'm doing the quilt. It
Mhm.
takes up,
Yeah. Yeah.
so we kind of like respect her, and he, if he wants to go and take a nap and he wants to go hang out on the deck and have a beer with his buddies. I nagged a little bit more about certain things when Sydney was younger. Like he would come home from work and his buddies would all be out on the street and right
Mhm.
after work. And she's at the window knocking to say hi, And so I would be like, you come home from work, you come in, you say hi to your daughter and the kid and the dog, and
Yeah.
then you can go out and then they're fine. But otherwise they're just at the window waiting, right? So,
Mhm.
a
That's
few things
so
like that we talked
funny.
about her to see him right when he comes home
Mhm.
because she's at that window waiting.
Mhm.
Um, and so things like that. But otherwise I don't micromanage the downtime. Like I see,
Mhm.
I'll see things on YouTube, people will be like, oh, someone as soon as the husband sits on the couch, they're like, oh, can you do this? Can you do that? No, like we don't,
No.
neither one of us do that. Like
Mhm.
Nope.
Mhm.
I don't know how much YouTube videos I watched researching. I was looking up recipes. I want to get into eating more fermented foods. And so I was watching videos on that. He'll be down watching videos on his stuff. He's into
Uh-huh.
speakers and audiophile, which I think is a horrible word. I hate saying it. But like he builds speakers and he's got lots of different stereo components and subwoofer. I don't know, whatever he's got down there.
Mhm.
And that's his thing. He loves it.
Hey,
And he
off
was
the wall,
tinkering
Pepper.
with little electronic things, and
Mhm.
I'll smell the soldering iron every once in a while. I don't know what's going on, but we very much have our own interests and hobbies. I do sewing, I do crafts, I do
Mhm.
gardening, obviously, and these are in our bedroom. So fortunately, he doesn't mind the grow rack with all our stuff in
Uh-huh.
it, because he realized how much money I
Yes.
saved not buying flats of petunias at the garden center.
Right.
Mhm.
Because like last year, I grew over like 300 petunias.
Awesome.
And
I've
that was
got
just
some
one of
seeds
the
I gotta get
many
started too.
flowers that I grew.
Mhm.
So, yes, he's like, okay, this is a
Gear
slightly
grinding.
deeper heart.
We know when something needs to be done. Ain't got to remind us every 6
Thank
months.
you. Yes. Well, it was like,
Every 6
I
months.
have a friend and she nags her husband, nags her husband, belittles him, nags him, nags him, nags him.
Ugh.
I'm like, he's never going to tighten that screw now. Like, never. Like, I wouldn't. Like, I would just be like, if you asked me to change that light bulb and you nag me so much, I would go and just rip out the whole. Like,
Mhm.
no.
That's
Do
too
not try
funny.
to guilt me. Guilt does not work on me. You try to guilt me? F you. No. Mm-mm.
Oh,
No.
Rachelle, you're awesome.
I'm very self-assured, let's just say. I am not, yeah.
Does anybody have any questions for Rachelle?
On that note, they're like scared now. Now that I've purified the chat, yeah.
I'm restraining. I'm holding back. Not for you. I'm holding back because I think you hit on a really good point about I'm tired of men being made look stupid on TV and stuff like that. So I'm
They
holding
are.
back.
The Simpsons. I mean, even shows that are geared towards
Okay,
children.
to be fair.
It's demeaning.
Yes, they
Yeah.
do. They try to make the fathers look foolish on TV. I mean, Married with Children, almost like they. I don't know.
The
I
sad thing
I could go
is,
on to
though,
why I think that's done, but
listen,
um,
I'm on the job site, and I'm going to tell you right now, there are a lot of guys that are just idiots. There are.
Sure.
Like the stuff they talk about and the stuff it's just like
Well, and to be fair,
always
guys
use their
and
brains,
girls, I
right?
mean,
Yeah.
plenty
It can
idiots on this
happen on both
planet,
sides. So I'm just there are a lot of
everywhere.
idiots out there. I'm just
Mhm. There is.
there are
Yes, Monica,
and yeah.
we didn't let our kids watch The Simpsons until they were older because I felt like it was just so disruptive to
Yeah.
how they look at the world and perceive it.
Yeah.
I didn't like that at all.
Yeah. Hey, Monica. I haven't even been looking at the chat yet. What is cheddar prep? Like someone's talking about gardening and what? I started raised beds last spring. Oh no, tumbleweeds. Well, here's the thing. If it's growing really, really well, it's probably a weed. If it comes up in your garden and you're not sure what it is it something I planted? Is it self-seed? Is it a weed? It's a weed. If it's a weed. That's 99% of the time.
Use your little app and find out what weed is to see what weed it
Oh,
is.
yes.
See
And
if
my
it has any
favorite
medicinal
my
value.
favorite app, I can never remember the name of it because there's another one that's very similar and it's awful.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
my favorite free plant identifying app is somewhere on my phone. I don't know where it's at. I use it all the time. It is a new phone though from last year, so maybe I haven't installed the app on here. I think it's Plant Snap. Nope, it's not Plant Snap. It's Leaf Snap.
Leaf
It's
snap.
awful. Leaf Snap is good.
I'm gonna
Okay.
try that one.
And I know a lot of people use Google Images, but
Nope.
I've found Google
Yeah.
Images to misidentify things. If it's fairly
That's
common,
right.
it's okay. If it's a little more obscure of something,
Mhm. So that sounds like a burdock plant. If there were Velcro bushes, and
oh, those are
I'm
terrible.
wondering if they had. Yeah, but the root is medicinal.
Yes, and it's like 5 feet long, and you will never get rid of it. We
But you
have
can
them
Little
also
growing.
things
make
We
a
all
have
over
them
my
tincture out
growing
of it.
behind our house. They grow wild right
Mhm.
behind.
Yeah.
So and it's been the bane of one of my neighbors' existence, trying to kill them and get them out of her yard.
Well,
So I laugh when I see people buy the seeds.
you're
I'm
right.
like, oh Lord, no.
Burdock root is really good
It
medicinally.
is
Though.
though.
I actually
Yes.
make my own tincture of that, and
And
I'm
like
sure you
mullein
bought the root.
killed. I'm like, yeah, I'm not planting mullein in my yard. No.
Yeah, I love
It grows
mullein.
wild there. Yeah.
That's awesome that you don't have to. I never had to plant it before. I did find some
No,
here.
I
I'm
can
pretty
just go
excited.
goldenrod, all that stuff just grows wild back behind the house. Even
That's
chicory,
awesome.
which I don't use, but
Mhm.
hey, bestie.
So we are a little over the top of the hour. Anything before we close, Rachelle, that you want to share that's going on with your channel? What to look out for? I loved your seed
seeds
organizer, by
and all the
the way.
seeds. Yes, seeds, all the seeds. I'm starting. So first week of, you can see right here, they're sprouting. I have sprouts. So I'm going to be doing an update video today. I don't know if it's going to go up today. It'll be up today or tomorrow.
Mhm.
And I'm going to be just starting lots of seeds coming up every week. It's just going to be, once my heat mat's empty, I'm starting another round of seeds.
Awesome.
They've done really well with the heat mat though. So if you can see right here, normally I use these styrofoam containers for the soil blocks. I've used them they're great, right?
Yeah.
Styrofoam is an insulator.
Oh.
So when you put the styrofoam on the heat mats, it does diddly squat.
Oh my goodness. No.
I am big.
I mean, I've
never
never
on everything. Like the next morning, I go in and check and I touch everything. All the other trays are warm because they had different bottoms. They had metal and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Except for that one, I was like, oh my gosh. So what I actually did was, because the peppers are okay with it being dark, I put them under the heat mat with.
Hey, Nicole Smith, thank you.
And I slid them under the heat mat with the burlap, and I kept them toasty warm. So yeah, that was a
that's how you got to do it, friend.
But I just got the heat mats last week. It's my first time with them, so I'm like, oh,
I love those. Yeah,
okay,
those are awesome.
Yeah, but I think more much emphasis going on doing more and being more, and I think a lot of it just, if that's what you need to make you happy and to be satisfied, great.
Yeah,
but I think being happy and satisfied should be the end goal.
It should be.
And if you're okay sitting back on a weekend and reading a book,
Sometimes you need to.
enjoy. If
I'm
you
going
need
to
to
say
be
you got
out
to have
building
weekends like
something,
that.
if you need
Mhm.
to be out building something, or if you need to be out doing something, because that's the kind of person you are to be happy,
Yeah.
do it. But
And to
don't
prevent
expect
problems later.
but to different, and your spouse might be different, your kid
Yeah.
might be different, and that
Yeah.
so for me, I think on here they didn't have anything. I was thinking to change faith, because I'm not a religious person.
Mhm.
Change faith to feeds you, like what feeds you, what feeds your
Yeah.
soul.
Mhm.
And there's so many different things that can feed your soul.
Mhm.
Faith can, any of the other F's can feed your soul.
Mhm.
But for me, it's, enjoying my hobbies, doing things that satisfy me, doing things that I enjoy, taking
Right.
time for myself, self-care.
Thank you, Cheddar.
Um, I love to do yoga, fitness, but
Hi,
just
Blue.
taking care of needs you. I think that is
Mhm.
something that really needs to be focused on more,
Thank you,
rather
Blue.
than what's in your bank account, or how many chickens you have.
Yeah. Yeah. Now
Lisa's like,
I'm
wait a
ready to
minute.
order some.
I have a pig math problem.
The big math. So yeah, so it's like, so that's why with my garden this year, I'm changing my focus. So the last year or two, I was very influenced by my fellow YouTubers, and I started growing a lot more food, which was great,
Awesome. It is.
but
Right.
it did not feed my soul.
Mhm.
Right.
So this year,
Aw.
I'm going to be growing the food and the veggies and stuff, but
Mhm.
I am focusing more on the flowers and the garden
Yeah.
Good for
and how
you.
the layout, because that's what makes me happy, is sitting on my deck, having a gin and tonic and looking out and seeing the flowers, and
Mhm.
being able to make cut flowers and being able to give cut.
That's
That's what's important to
awesome.
me. And so, yeah, I was really focused on the food, because I was like, oh, growing
Mhm.
food is good, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I can go to the grocery store. Like, I live in town. I can go buy anything.
Mhm.
Lady on one of the boards this morning, she's like, well, what do you grow in your garden that you can't get at the local grocery store? And honestly, like, I live in the GTA, the Greater Toronto area. It's close to 10 million people.
Mhm.
Wow.
Brampton is one of the most diverse cities on the planet. We are 78% visible minority in the
Mhm.
city of Brampton.
Mhm.
I can go within like 2 kilometers. I can go and I can get pretty much any kind of vegetable or fruit, no matter how rare.
Mhm.
Talk about all these rare fruits and vegetables. There's an Asian market 2 kilometers from my house that has almost everything. Like, I
Mhm.
can go in and get 3 different kinds of fresh guava.
Yep. You got
Like,
to do you. That's what it
it's
all boils
amazing. And
down
so
to.
for
That's
me,
right.
I grow stuff at home because it's convenient and it's handy. But like, I can go to any grocery store here and I can buy 10 million different kinds of peppers.
Mhm.
So for me, it's not that I'm depriving myself of any of these exotic flavors, or even like, I can go to the store and buy fresh curry leaves. I can go to the store and buy kaffir leaves. I can go and buy lemongrass, like, right there, right? So
That was nice, Nicole.
to me, the garden is more about
Mhm. It's true. Flowers are expensive.
for flowers, and I love it. It makes me happy. I grew up on the West Coast. I grew up going to Butchart Gardens as a kid, and that to me is just the epiphany of just, I love it. I love the flowers. So
Nice.
yeah,
Mhm. That's awesome.
yeah.
Thank you, Rachelle.
Nicole,
Thank you so much for coming on
thank you so much
today.
for having me. We went all over the place.
I'm so glad you came, though. Thank you.
It was so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun chat
Discipline
though.
your
We had a
kids.
fun
Uh, kidding, not kidding.
time. Well, thank you so much. We had so much
Buy your
fun
own
visiting with
flowers.
you, and
Yeah.
thank you everybody for coming in. We're going to be next week. We're going to be having our live on Monday instead of Tuesday, and we'll have CNC Farm Ashley over there joining us. And Rachelle, thank you. I hope you all will go check out her channel. I've got her link posted in the chat. It's pinned in there.
I
So
would love to kill it and grill it. I just don't think it'll work.
oh my gosh, that would be awesome if you
Go
could.
out on the phone. Take your phone out
It's kind of iffy out there,
on
but
StreamYard.
I'll try.
Oh,
One
yeah.
of these
Do it
times.
one of these times when the
Yeah.
weather's nicer.
Everybody have a blessed rest of your week. And we will see you
You say
next
breath.
week. Thanks, everybody.
She said
Bye, everyone.
Bye.